Is it a coded message from a medieval genius, a sophisticated hoax designed to fool scholars, or simply the beautiful ramblings of a troubled mind? For centuries, the Voynich Manuscript, a book filled with bizarre illustrations and an unknown script, has defied all attempts at decipherment. Its language, unlike any other on Earth, poses a persistent enigma. But what if the key to unlocking its secrets lies not in elaborate code breaking, but in the cold, hard facts of numbers? We begin with the numbers themselves. The Voynich Manuscript, 240 pages, filled with botanical drawings of plants no one recognizes, astronomical charts showing constellations never seen, and nude figures frolicking in strange, interconnected pools, all meticulously rendered, all utterly baffling. And at the heart of it all, that unreadable text. The allure of decipherment is irresistible. Kings, emperors, academics, and amateur sleuths have all tried their hand at cracking the code. Each line of text meticulously scrutinized, each symbol pondered, each potential key tested. But the Voynich script remains stubbornly, infuriatingly silent. So where do we begin in our quest? Not with assumptions about medieval magic or forgotten languages, but with the building blocks of language itself: letters, words, their frequency, their combinations. Statistical analysis, a tool as precise as a surgeon's scalpel, cutting through the noise to reveal the hidden structure beneath. Imagine a vast library filled with every book ever written. If you were to pick a book at random, chances are you'd find the letter E more often than the letter Z. That's language frequency in action. It's a cornerstone of linguistic analysis, and it applies to almost every known language. The Voynich script, however, doesn't quite play by these rules. Early statistical analysis revealed peculiar patterns. Words repeat themselves in ways that seem unnatural. Some letters cluster together in strange combinations. The distribution of letters across the manuscript is oddly consistent, almost too consistent. Is this evidence of a meticulously crafted hoax designed to mimic the structure of a real language just enough to be believable, but ultimately meaningless? Or does it hint at a language constructed according to rules we simply don't understand, a system operating outside the bounds of our linguistic experience? The initial findings were intriguing, but ultimately limited. Early computers lacked the power to truly dig deep into the manuscript's statistical profile. We needed more sophisticated tools, more refined methods. And with the advent of modern computing, the game changed. The statistical quest was renewed. Modern computing power allowed researchers to delve into the Voynich manuscripts language with unprecedented precision. Gone were the days of manual counting and subjective interpretation. Now, algorithms could dissect the text, identifying recurring patterns, measuring word lengths, and mapping the relationships between different sections of the manuscript. The initial shock? The Voynich script, despite its alien appearance, exhibited statistical properties consistent with natural language. It wasn't random gibberish, it had structure. The distribution of word lengths, the frequency of letters, the way words clustered together, all suggested a system governed by rules. But what rules? That remained the central mystery, one of the earliest and most persistent. Theories centered around the idea of code. Perhaps the Voynich script was a substitution cipher, where each symbol represented a letter or syllable in a known language, or maybe it was a more complex transposition cipher, where the letters were rearranged according to a specific algorithm. The problem? No matter how researchers twisted and turned, no known cipher system seemed to fit. The frequency analysis, while suggesting structure, also revealed anomalies that defied simple cipher solutions. The vowels, for instance, seemed strangely suppressed. Certain letters appeared almost exclusively at the beginning or end of words. These quirks suggested something more complex than a straightforward substitution. Another popular theory proposed that the Voynich manuscript was written in a constructed language, an artificial tongue, created for a specific purpose. Think of Esperanto, but designed with a secret objective in mind. This idea gained traction because it could potentially explain the script's unusual statistical properties. A constructed language wouldn't necessarily adhere to the rules of natural languages. It could be designed with its own unique grammar and vocabulary. But if the Voynich script was a constructed language, who created it and why? The historical context offered some clues, but also deepened the mystery. The manuscript is believed to date back to the early 15th century, a period of intellectual ferment and esoteric pursuits. Alchemy, astrology, and the occult were all thriving, and the creation of a secret language for arcane knowledge wouldn't have been entirely out of place. Some scholars pointed to the illustrations as potential keys. The strange plants, the astronomical charts, the enigmatic figures, perhaps they held clues to the language's meaning. One theory suggested that the manuscript was a pharmaceutical compendium, a book of remedies written in a secret code to protect its knowledge from unauthorized access. The plants, even if unrecognizable today, might have been known to apothecaries of the time, and the text could have described their properties and uses. But this theory faced challenges. The illustrations are often fantastical and don't always correspond to known botanical species. And even if the manuscript did contain some pharmaceutical information, it didn't explain the sections devoted to astronomy and the strange, almost dreamlike imagery. The astronomical charts, in particular, presented a unique puzzle. They depict constellations that don't match the celestial maps of the time. Some researchers have speculated that these charts might represent a lost system of astronomy, or perhaps even depict the night sky as seen from a different location, or a different planet altogether. This idea, while intriguing, veered into the realm of speculation. Without a Rosetta Stone to decipher the text, it was impossible to definitively link the illustrations to the language. The statistical analysis, while powerful, also had its limitations. It could reveal patterns and structures, but it couldn't provide meaning. It could tell us that the Voynich script was likely a language, but it couldn't tell us what that language was saying. This led some researchers to question the very assumption that the Voynich manuscript was written in a meaningful language at all. Perhaps it was a sophisticated hoax, a meticulously crafted piece of nonsense, designed to fool collectors and scholars. This theory, while seemingly cynical, couldn't be easily dismissed. The historical record is full of elaborate hoaxes, and the Voynich manuscript could simply be the most successful of them all. But even if it was a hoax, the level of effort and skill involved would have been extraordinary. The manuscript is beautifully written and illustrated, and the text exhibits a degree of statistical coherence that would be difficult to achieve through random generation. To create such a convincing illusion would have required a deep understanding of language structure, a skill that was relatively rare in the 15th century. Furthermore, the parchment itself is centuries old and shows signs of genuine use. This suggests that the manuscript was not simply created as a prank, but was likely studied and consulted by someone over a period of time. The debate between the language and hoax theories raged on, with each side presenting compelling arguments. Some researchers proposed a middle ground, suggesting that the Voynich manuscript might be a combination of both. Perhaps it was written in a real language, but heavily disguised with code or gibberish. Or maybe it was a hoax that incorporated elements of real language to make it more convincing. The statistical analysis continued, becoming more sophisticated with each passing year. Researchers began to explore more advanced techniques such as machine learning and natural language processing to try and uncover hidden patterns in the Voynich script. They compared the script to hundreds of known languages, searching for statistical similarities that might provide a clue to its origins. They analyzed the relationships between different sections of the manuscript, looking for evidence of thematic coherence. They even attempted to use computers to generate possible translations based on the statistical properties of the script. But despite these efforts, the Voynich manuscript remained stubbornly resistant to decipherment. Each new analysis seemed to raise more questions than answers. The statistical patterns became more complex and nuanced, but the underlying meaning remained elusive. The manuscript continued to defy all attempts at understanding, a persistent enigma that challenged the limits of human ingenuity. And yet the quest continued. The allure of the unknown was too strong to resist. The Voynich manuscript, with its bizarre illustrations and unreadable text, held a promise of uncovering a lost world, a forgotten language, a secret knowledge. And as long as that promise remained, the statistical quest would continue, driven by the hope that one day the numbers would finally reveal the truth. The contrast between hope and frustration became a constant companion to those studying the manuscript. There were moments of near breakthrough, fleeting glimpses of potential meaning, only to be dashed by further analysis. The manuscript seemed to be designed to tantalize, to offer just enough clues to keep researchers engaged, but never enough to solve the puzzle. This led to a sense of almost mystical reverence for the manuscript. Some researchers began to see it as more than just a book, but as a kind of oracle, a source of hidden wisdom that could only be unlocked through perseverance and intuition. Others became convinced that the manuscript was protected by some kind of curse, or that its secrets were meant to remain hidden. This sense of mystery only added to the manuscript's allure, drawing in new generations of researchers who were eager to test their skills against the ultimate challenge. The Voynich Manuscript became a symbol of the unknowable, a reminder that there are still mysteries in the world that defy explanation. And as long as that mystery persists, the statistical analysis will continue, driven by the hope that one day the numbers will finally speak. The historical context continued to provide tantalizing but ultimately inconclusive clues. The early 15th century was a time of great intellectual and artistic innovation, but also a time of great secrecy and paranoia. The rise of printing had made information more accessible than ever before, but it had also created new opportunities for censorship and control. The creation of a secret language, or a coded manuscript, could have been a way to protect sensitive information or to express controversial ideas without fear of reprisal. The identity of the manuscript's author remained a complete mystery. There were no clues in the text, no signatures or dedications. Some researchers speculated that the author was a member of a secret society or a scholar working in isolation. Others believed that the manuscript was the work of multiple authors, each contributing to a different section or aspect of the book. The lack of information about the author only added to the manuscript's mystique, making it even more difficult to understand its purpose and meaning. The contrasting views, the language versus hoax debate, the potential for a constructed language versus a coded message, it all underscored the complexity of the problem. The Voynich manuscript was not a simple puzzle with a straightforward solution. It was a multifaceted enigma that required a multidisciplinary approach, combining linguistics, statistics, history, and even a bit of intuition. And as the statistical analysis continued, it became clear that the answer, if there was one, would not be easy to find. The manuscript was a challenge, a test of human ingenuity, a reminder that some mysteries may never be solved. The statistical whispers from the Voynich manuscript have ignited countless debates, sparking a constellation of hypotheses, each vying to explain the book's perplexing nature. The fundamental divide, of course, remains. Is it language or is it hoax? For proponents of the language theory, the statistical regularities are too compelling to ignore. They point to the consistent distribution of letters, the characteristic patterns of word formation, and the evidence of grammatical structure, all of which suggest a system of communication, however alien it may be. One prominent linguistic hypothesis posits that the Voynich script represents a previously unknown natural language, perhaps one spoken in a remote region or during a historical period for which no other written records exist. This idea is supported by the observation that the script exhibits certain features that are found in other natural languages, such as the presence of prefixes and suffixes and the tendency for certain words to occur together in predictable patterns. The challenge, of course, is identifying the language family to which the Voynich script might belong. Some researchers have suggested connections to Austronesian languages based on perceived similarities in syllable structure. Others have proposed links to Sino-Tibetan languages, citing the use of tonal markers and the agglutinative nature of the grammar. However, none of these proposals has been conclusively proven, and the linguistic affiliation of the Voynich script remains a matter of intense debate. A more radical linguistic hypothesis suggests that the Voynich script represents a translinguistic system, a language designed to be understood by speakers of different languages. This idea is based on the observation that the script exhibits certain features that are common to many different languages, such as the use of simple phonetic symbols and the absence of complex grammatical rules. The proponents of this theory argue that the Voynich script was created as a kind of universal language, a means of facilitating communication between people who speak different tongues. However, this hypothesis faces several challenges. First, it is not clear how a translinguistic system could be designed to be understood by speakers of all languages, given the vast differences in phonology, grammar, and vocabulary. Second, there is no historical evidence to support the existence of such a system in the 15th century. Another fascinating linguistic hypothesis explores the possibility of steganography, concealing a message within an apparently innocent text. Perhaps the Voynich manuscript appears to be written in a unique language, but its true message is embedded within, revealed only through a specific decoding method. This could involve reading only certain letters, applying a numerical key to the word order, or even using the illustrations as a guide to unlock the hidden meaning. Steganography offers an explanation for the manuscript's persistent resistance to traditional decipherment. If the true message is cleverly concealed, standard linguistic analysis would be ineffective. However, proving a steganographic hypothesis is incredibly difficult, requiring both identifying the concealment method and revealing a coherent message. The challenge is akin to finding a needle in a haystack, compounded by the fact that we don't even know what the needle looks like. Contrast this with the hoax theory, which posits that the statistical patterns, while present, are either deliberately constructed or arise from chance and pareidolia, our human tendency to find patterns where none exist. Hoax proponents argue that the Voynich script is simply a meaningless string of symbols cleverly designed to mimic the appearance of a real language. They point to the absence of any clear semantic content, the inconsistencies in the illustrations, and the lack of any historical context that would support the existence of a genuine Voynich language. One variation of the hoax theory suggests that the Voynich script was created as a kind of artistic experiment, a purely aesthetic exercise designed to explore the visual possibilities of language. The author, according to this theory, was not trying to communicate any specific message, but rather to create a visually appealing and intellectually stimulating work of art. This idea is supported by the manuscript's beautiful illustrations and its meticulous attention to detail. However, it does not explain the statistical regularities in the text, which seem to suggest a more deliberate and structured approach. Another more cynical version of the hoax theory proposes that the Voynich script was created as a way to deceive wealthy collectors or patrons. The author, according to this theory, was simply trying to make money by selling a fake manuscript that appeared to be of great historical or intellectual value. This idea is supported by the fact that the Voynich manuscript has a long history of being bought and sold, and that its value has always been based on its perceived mystery and significance. However, it does not explain why the author would have gone to so much trouble to create such a complex and detailed manuscript. A truly convincing hoax would require a significant investment of time, effort, and skill. Even within the hoax camp, debates rage. Was it a solitary endeavor, the work of a single brilliant charlatan, or a collaborative project, perhaps, involving a group of artists and scholars? The level of sophistication suggests a concerted effort, but the lack of any clear evidence makes it difficult to draw firm conclusions. The conflicting interpretations of the illustrations further fuel the debates. Are they accurate depictions of real plants and astronomical phenomena, or are they purely imaginary creations? If they are real, do they provide clues to the language's meaning, or are they simply decorative elements that have no linguistic significance? Some researchers have attempted to identify the plants depicted in the Voynich manuscript, comparing them to known species from around the world. They have proposed that the manuscript may have originated in Mesoamerica based on the presence of certain plants that are native to that region. However, these identifications are often tentative and controversial, and many of the plants in the Voynich manuscript remain unidentified. Similarly, the astronomical charts in the Voynich manuscript have been the subject of much speculation. Some researchers have suggested that they depict a lost system of astronomy, or that They represent the night sky as seen from a different location or time period. Others have argued that the charts are simply inaccurate or fanciful representations of known astronomical phenomena. The debate over the illustrations highlights the fundamental challenge of interpreting the Voynich manuscript. Without a clear understanding of the language, it is difficult to determine the meaning of the illustrations, and without a clear understanding of the illustrations, it is difficult to decipher the language. The manuscript is a closed loop, a self-referential system that resists all attempts at external validation. The debates extend beyond the linguistic and historical realms, delving into the psychological and philosophical dimensions of the Voynich manuscript. What does the manuscript tell us about the human desire for meaning and understanding? What does it reveal about the limits of human knowledge and the power of imagination? Some researchers have suggested that the Voynich manuscript is a kind of Rorschach test, a projective instrument that reveals more about the observer than about the manuscript itself. The patterns and symbols in the manuscript, wrote according to this theory, are inherently ambiguous, and their meaning is determined by the individual's own experiences, beliefs, and expectations. This idea is supported by the fact that different researchers have interpreted the Voynich manuscript in wildly different ways, based on their own personal biases and perspectives. Others view the manuscript as a reminder of the inherent limitations of human knowledge. The Voynich manuscript, according to this, is a symbol of the unknowable, a testament to the fact that there are some mysteries that may never be solved. This perspective is both humbling and liberating, reminding us that we are not always in control of our own understanding, and that there is always more to learn. Ultimately, the debates and hypotheses surrounding the Voynich manuscript reflect the complexity and mystery of human language and consciousness. The manuscript is a mirror reflecting our own hopes, fears, and aspirations. It is a challenge, a puzzle, and a source of endless fascination. And as long as it continues to defy our understanding, it will continue to inspire debate and speculation. The Voynich manuscript remains a canvas onto which we project our own intellectual and emotional landscapes. The Voynich manuscript, after centuries of scrutiny, remains stubbornly, beautifully unsolved. The statistical analysis, a powerful tool in our quest for understanding, has confirmed the existence of structure, hinting at language, but failing to yield meaning. It's a testament to the complexity of language itself, to the subtle nuances that defy simple numerical analysis. Whether it's a lost language, a constructed code, or an elaborate hoax, the manuscript's enduring power lies in its resistance to definitive categorization. Its significance transcends the narrow confines of cryptography or linguistics. The Voynich manuscript is a cultural artifact, a symbol of the limits of human knowledge and the enduring allure of the unknown. It forces us to confront our assumptions about language, about history, and about the nature of reality itself. If it is a language, it represents a potentially lost civilization, a unique way of thinking and expressing ideas. Unlocking its secrets could provide invaluable insights into the past, revealing new perspectives on human history and culture. Imagine the lost knowledge contained within those pages, forgotten remedies, astronomical observations, philosophical insight. The potential reward is immense. If it is a code, it speaks to the ingenuity and resourcefulness of its creator, a mind capable of conceiving and executing a complex system of encryption. Deciphering the code could reveal a hidden message, a secret that has been concealed for centuries. Who created the code, and what were they trying to protect? The answers could rewrite our understanding of history. But even if it's a hoax, the Voynich manuscript is a remarkable achievement. It's a testament to the power of human imagination, a demonstration of the ability to create something beautiful and mysterious out of nothing. The author, even if a trickster, was a master of illusion, capable of fooling some of the greatest minds in history. Understanding the hoax would provide valuable insights into the psychology of deception and the nature of belief. Regardless of its true nature, the Voynich manuscript has inspired countless researchers, artists, and writers. It has become a symbol of the unknowable, a reminder that there are still mysteries in the world that defy explanation. It challenges us to think critically, to question our assumptions, and to embrace the uncertainty of the unknown. The statistical analysis, while not providing a definitive answer, has narrowed the possibilities and illuminated the path forward. Future research may focus on more advanced techniques such as artificial intelligence and machine learning to try and uncover hidden patterns in the Voynich script. Collaboration between experts in different fields, from linguistics to history to computer science, may be the key to unlocking the manuscript's secrets. The Voynich manuscript reminds us that the pursuit of knowledge is a journey, not a destination. The quest for understanding is often more rewarding than the discovery of a definitive answer. The manuscript challenges us to embrace the uncertainty, to celebrate the mystery, and to continue exploring the unknown. It's a legacy, a persistent challenge to human ingenuity that will likely endure for generations to come. The book whispers to us across the centuries, daring us to decipher its secrets. Will we ever succeed? Only time and continued investigation will tell. The story of the Voynich manuscript is far from over. The statistical journey continues. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.